Let me ask you a question that I think we have all been asking ourselves privately. Why does it feel like no matter how hard we work and no matter how much the stock market goes up, we are slowly falling behind? We are living through one of the most confusing moments in economic history. If you turn on the financial news, everything looks perfect. The S&P 500 is breaking records. The experts in suits are smiling and telling us that the economy is booming. They tell us that we should be celebrating, but when we look at our actual lives, the picture is very different. We go to the supermarket and we see that the cost of feeding our families has jumped 40 or 50%. We look at the housing market and we realize the home that was affordable 5 years ago is now a luxury item. We look at our savings accounts and we realize that our money is melting because inflation is silently stealing our purchasing power every single day. There is a massive, painful disconnect between the Wall Street economy and the real economy. And I want to tell you something that the mainstream media refuses to acknowledge. You are not crazy. You are simply paying attention. We are not suffering because we made bad choices. We followed the rules. We went to school, we got the jobs, we saved our money, but the rules of the game were changed without our permission. The Federal Reserve and the central banks have flooded the system with so much printed money that they have pushed asset prices to the moon. This has forced all of us into a corner. We are forced to take risks we don't want to take, just to keep up with the cost of living. We are all passengers in a car that is driving way too fast. The engine is overheating, the check engine light is flashing red, but the driver, the financial system, is screaming at us to go faster. So the real question today is not how do we get rich quick? The question is, how do we survive this? We cannot control the Federal Reserve, but we can control our own portfolio. We can choose to opt out of their casino. We can choose to build a fortress. Today, I want to walk you through a strategy designed specifically for this environment. This is about pivoting our capital into assets that are real, tangible, and necessary. We are going to build a bunker portfolio using 5 specific ETFs that act as a shield against the chaos. Before we look at the specific investments, we need to understand why this pivot is necessary right now. We need to look at the data that the smart money is watching. The most critical number flashing red right now is the Shiller PE ratio. For those who aren't financial nerds, let me explain. The standard PE ratio tells you how expensive a stock is compared to its earnings. But earnings can fluctuate. The Shiller PE smooths out those fluctuations over 10 years. It gives us the true temperature of the market. Historically, the average reading for this ratio is around 17. That is fair value. Today, we are pushing towards 40. We need to let that sink in. We are more than double the historical average. In the entire history of the US stock market, we have only reached these levels twice before. The first time was in 1929, right before the Great Depression. The second time was in 2000, right before the dot-com bubble burst and the Nasdaq lost 80% of its value. Imagine working for 20 years to build a retirement nest egg and watching it shrink to nothing in 24 months. That is the tragedy that happened to the last generation of investors who believed this time is different. Wall Street loves to tell us this time is different. They tell us AI justifies these prices. But gravity is a law of nature. Eventually, the pendulum always swings back. But here is our dilemma. If we sell everything and go to cash, inflation eats us alive. But if we stay in the overheated tech stocks, we risk a massive crash. The solution is to rotate. We need to move from offense to defense. We need to move from speculation to utility. Let's look at the 5 layers of the Fortress portfolio. The first layer of our defense is built on a simple truth about human nature. Survival is not optional. When the economy gets tough, we change our behavior. We might cancel the Netflix subscription. We might delay buying that new iPhone. We stop going to Starbucks. We cut out the luxuries. But there are things we cannot cut. We will never stop brushing our teeth. We will never stop washing our clothes. We will never stop buying toilet paper. We will never stop feeding our children. This is where the Consumer Staples ETF comes in. The tickers are VDC or XLP. These funds hold the companies that manufacture the necessities of modern life. We are talking about Procter & Gamble, Walmart, Costco, and Coca-Cola. The superpower of these companies is pricing power. This is the ultimate hedge against inflation. Think about it. When inflation drives up the cost of raw materials, what does Coca-Cola do? They simply raise the price. And what do? We complain, but we still buy it. We pay the higher price because we are habituated to the product. This allows these companies to protect their profits, even when the dollar is losing value. Let's look at the evidence. In the year 2022, it was a nightmare for investors. Inflation was spiking, and the bubble stocks were collapsing. The Nasdaq fell 33%. Many popular tech stocks fell 70% or more. But VDC? It was flat. It barely moved. While aggressive investors were watching their net worth evaporate, the consumer staples investors were safe. This sector acts as the concrete foundation of our house. Now, let's add the second layer. We have covered the products we use. Now we need to cover the infrastructure that makes civilization possible. I am talking about the utilities sector. The ticker is FUTI. In the investment world, utility companies are often called the widow and orphan stocks because they are seen as incredibly safe. These are the companies that provide electricity, water, and gas. Consider the business model here. These companies are legal monopolies. You cannot choose your electric provider. You are stuck with them. If you don't pay your bill, they turn off your lights. This gives them the most predictable cash flow of any industry on Earth. But there is a new catalyst for utilities that makes them even more attractive right now: the AI energy boom. Everyone is rushing to buy Nvidia because of artificial intelligence. But what does AI need to run? It needs data centers. And what do data centers need? Massive amounts of electricity. The demand for power is projected to skyrocket. The utility companies control that supply. Furthermore, utilities are income machines. They pay out high dividends to shareholders. In a market where stock prices might go sideways, getting that quarterly dividend check is a lifeline. During the market chaos of 2022, while the S&P 500 was in a bear market, the utilities sector actually posted a positive return. It went up. This is the definition of a defensive shield. The third layer of our fortress is based on the only two things guaranteed in life: death and taxes. Since we cannot invest in the IRS, we invest in the healthcare sector. The ticker is XLV. The logic here is driven by an unstoppable force: demographics. We are witnessing the silver tsunami. The baby boomer generation is entering their senior years. As we age, our bodies require maintenance. We need pills, we need surgeries, we need care. This demand is completely inelastic. If you want a luxury car but it is too expensive, you don't buy it. But if you have a heart condition and you need medication, you don't care what the price is. You will pay it. You will do whatever it takes to stay alive. This makes the healthcare sector incredibly resilient to recessions. The XLV ETF gives us exposure to the titans of this industry. We are owning United Health Group, Johnson & Johnson, and Pfizer. Unlike utilities, which are slow, healthcare offers a blend of safety and growth. These companies are constantly innovating. They are researching cures for cancer and diabetes. If they succeed, the upside is massive. We are placing a bet on the continued aging of the population and the advancement of science. Those are bets I am very comfortable making. Now we arrive at the engine room of our portfolio. This is, in my opinion, the most critical holding for the next decade. The ticker is SCHD. We need to be very careful here. Not all dividend funds are created equal. Many are traps. They buy terrible companies just because they pay a high yield. We do not want to own dying businesses. SCHD is different because it focuses on one thing above all else: quality. The screening process for this fund is rigorous. To be considered, a company usually needs a 10-year history of paying dividends. But more importantly, SCHD looks at free cash flow. Why focus on free cash flow? Because in a bubble, investors care about stories. They buy companies that lose money because they believe in a futuristic narrative. But when the bubble pops, the story dies. And in a recession, cash is king. Cash flow is the truth serum of the stock market. You can manipulate earnings reports, but you cannot fake cash in the bank. Companies with strong free cash flow can pay off their debt and survive difficult times. SCHD holds the special forces of the corporate world, companies like Chevron, PepsiCo, and Home Depot. These are businesses that have survived wars, recessions, and inflation. In 2022, SCHD outperformed the S&P 500 by a wide margin. While the broader market was down nearly 20%, SCHD was down only about 3%. It held the line. Finally, we need to address the biggest risk to your financial future. It isn't the Federal Reserve. It isn't the election. The biggest risk is you. Investing is an emotional game. The system is designed to trigger our fear. When the market is crashing, our fight or flight instinct kicks in. The pain of seeing our portfolio drop is visceral. This pain causes most investors to make the fatal mistake. They panic sell at the bottom. They sell right when they should be buying, destroying their future. To prevent this, we use the low volatility ETF, ticker USMV. This fund uses complex algorithms to select stocks that historically move less than the overall market. It builds a portfolio that is mathematically designed to be smoother. Think of USMV as the shock absorbers on a car. When the market hits a massive pothole, USMV cushions the blow. If the market drops 20%, USMV might only drop 10%. A smaller loss is easier to handle psychologically. It keeps you calm, it allows you to sleep at night, and if it keeps you from panic selling, it has paid for itself 1,000 times over. It is sleep insurance. So, let's bring this all together. I want to be very clear. I am not telling you to sell everything and go live in a bunker. That is fear talking. And we are not acting out of fear. We are acting out of wisdom. I am suggesting that we take back control. The smart money is not leaving the market completely, but they are rotating. They are taking the massive profits they made from the tech bubble, and they are moving that capital into these fortress assets. They are building their ark before the rain starts. Most retail investors will wait too long. They will wait until the crash is already happening to react. They will be the ones holding the bag. I don't want that to be us. We have a window of opportunity right now. The market is giving us a chance to rebalance. Take a look at your portfolio. If you are 100% exposed to high-flying tech stocks, ask yourself a hard question. If the market drops 30% next month, will my family be okay? If the answer is no, then it is time to pivot. Consider moving a portion of your wealth into VDC for essentials, FUD for infrastructure, XLV for health, SCHD for cash flow, and USMV for stability. By doing this, we are positioning ourselves to win no matter what happens. If the market keeps going up, great. We still own stocks. We will still make money. But if the bottom falls out, if the music stops, we will be the ones left standing. This is not just about money. This is about dignity. It is about refusing to be a victim of a broken system. It is about ensuring that the fruits of our labor are protected for our future. Let's be the prudent ones. Let's be the patient ones. Let's survive the madness together. Stay safe, stay liquid, and always protect your downside. I'll see you in the next video.